Today, we have a very special podcast episode. I'm very excited to announce Kimo Kepano, also known as the Light Seer, is an Aboriginal practitioner who combines science and energy work. He is a quantified healer, psychic, and educator with over 30 years of experience. Kepano has helped over 10,000 clients learn how to tune into their own frequency and has set them up for profound personal success. Let's welcome Kimo Kepano.
Well, aloha kako. My name is Kimo Kepano, and I am what is known as a high seer in my Aboriginal culture. So I'll just quickly introduce what the heck does that mean, and how can we equate similarities between business and everyday life? For me, something that was discovered when I was a small child is that the world looks like a series of frequencies. And it was speculated by doctors that I was dropped on my head, which I was, but it was speculated that by being dropped on my head that I discombobulated my visual cortex center, which is why they think that I can see what I see. Now, I don't know if that's my actual origin story or not, but
Mhm.
the world does look like a series of frequencies. And here's what I learned. It's a small child. If you can identify what frequency pattern looks like, you can pre-identify certain kinds of things about a person, meaning what are their circumstances manifesting as? How are they going to be highly tuned into some kind of alignment of work, what they're going to be skilled at? Even a sense of understanding contents of their mind before they have realized it. I utilize that to understand health. I work with a lot of doctors and a lot of surgeons to locate and biolocate things that are going on in the body when they haven't been able to figure it out, because the body looks like a frequency to me. If I were to ever speak evidentially as a medium, which is someone who speaks to the dead,
Mhm.
technically spirit comes in as a series of frequencies. Being able to quantify that by bringing in facts and things that are going on that I would not have known it,
Wow.
before that. But here's what I love about, putting on these weird magical goggles as what I love about that is that if we completely remove ourselves from the idea of spirituality and take a look at it as how do we lean into this just intuitively? Well, intuition has no boundaries. We can utilize that for business. We can utilize that for our spiritual practice if we wanted to. You could utilize it for parenting. You could utilize that for building and developing new relationships. There's really no end to that
Yeah.
as long as we understand how to utilize it. And everyone's system of intuition, it is not one size fits all. Everyone's body gives off a different frequency. And again, for me as a kid, I just learned how to understand what every pattern of frequency looks like, which means if we can identify that we are all specific and unique in the way that we work with our own intuition,
Mhm.
knowing what those different variances are can help you amplify whatever you choose to do.
Right.
So a CEO could utilize that. A chef could utilize that. A football coach could utilize that. An actor could utilize that. Meaning, I'm giving examples of people that I've actually worked with,
Mhm.
from celebrities to the complete neophyte. It doesn't matter. You can utilize it in a way to make sense and to amplify whatever you're trying to do in your life.
Right. That's beautiful. I love that because it really shows that you aren't confined to just one type of person. This isn't exclusive to anybody. It's really accessible for so many different kinds of people, which I think is really necessary right now with everything going on in the world. We need
Right.
these kind of insights and different perspectives to help us grow and see things a little bit differently. So I absolutely love that. So can you tell me how you incorporate what you do to people that are going through a lot of burnout and stress from these heavy workloads that they go through on a daily basis?
Well, when it comes to burnout, there's a variety of burnouts. There's stress burnout, there's emotional burnout, there's physical burnout, there's energetic burnout, there's religious burnout, there's familial burnout.
My gosh,
There's
so
so
true.
many different kinds. So what we can do is we can identify what kind of burnout first, and then identify is that some kind of polarity of what was going on intuitively. So let's just give an example, okay?
Hmm.
Let's just say that I'm emotionally burned out. Everywhere that I go with my relationships to my job, I feel like I take on a lot of emotions and I
Yeah,
can't stop myself from doing that. And I'll feel someone's emotions there, and I'll feel someone else's emotions there. If my boss is mad at me, then I feel that, and I feel a sense of I'm not going to be okay until he tells me that I'm okay. I
right.
feel a lot of emotional burnout and emotional fatigue. Now, there's different ways that we think about that. There are either some kind of sympathetic response or not. But what's happening on an energetic intuitive frequency is that it's more than likely that that person is more of an empath than someone else
Yeah.
who doesn't experience the same kind of emotional fatigue. What does that actually mean? When you take the empath, and not everyone is empathic. We should just
Yeah.
identify that from the beginning. An empath is a variety of circumstances. When I'm looking at someone who is empathic, before they say a single word to me, I look at a frequency around the body, meaning that empathy is this full-bodied, oval-like frequency.
Yeah.
And when I look at it, it kind of looks like your body is in the middle of an egg and that large frequency is moving around you because it's kind of oval-like.
Yeah. Very
You would
cool.
think that empathy would be like a variety of rainbow-like colors, but it's actually not. It doesn't look like that.
Really?
Empathy on the outside of the body looks like a very gray spectrum. And then from there, it will take on characteristic traits and color traits of the people around you. So if
Okay.
I'm looking at someone with a high level of empathy, it'll expand largely around the body. If I'm looking at someone that does not experience a high amount of empathy, it's like 2 inches outside of the body. If it
Wow.
goes beyond 2 inches, I already know I'm talking to an empath. And
Yeah.
if it's colored in the spectrum, a variety of colors, I will already know before you have said a single word to me that you are in emotional fatigue
Wow.
because that field has taken on a variety of colors, which
Yeah.
means that when I'm talking to that person, I'm going to change my speech. I'm going to use more energetic language to say, here's what we have to do emotionally. And that
Hmm.
person will usually say, that's how it feels. All these emotions are on my shoulders. And
Yeah.
there's other techniques that we can do. So if we're utilizing the example of the emotional empath and how it relates to emotional fatigue, then the job then is to substantiate how can I be more autonomous and more authoritative? Because if it's my job, if I've made it my job to be the linchpin for my family and for my job, for my work, for my actual
Hmm.
employment, then I've done too much. Then
Yeah.
I'm trying to fix everyone else's stuff without allowing them to figure it out on their own. So the pathway to dealing with emotional fatigue is to go through empathy first.
I love that. That is so beautiful. And I love how you stated the differences between the burnout because so many of us don't recognize that there are different types and we think it is that one size fits all. And we don't really recognize or even understand that there are these different levels and how they can slip into one part of the life. Like the relationship area can slip into your work life and vice versa. And it can really just have that domino effect and that ripple effect of really causing disruptions throughout your entire life. So I like that perspective a lot, especially how you can see the different
I know.
frequencies. That is so
Oh, the teacher,
interesting to
right?
me,
It's one of
especially
those.
because I think what when I hear you say that, so I don't see things like that, but when I hear you, um, I think of like microwaves and how we can't, I can't see microwaves. I can't see Wi-Fi. I can't see that at those energetic pathwaves moving all around us all the time. And it's interesting because we know that they're there. We know it's a thing. So to put that with ourselves too and recognize ourselves as energy to see that as something different too, I think that's just something to think about and to, slip into your mind for later because it's
Absolutely.
it's life, it's energy, and it moves. You can't ever get rid of energy.
Well, to demystify that,
Yeah.
because usually when someone brings up energy, everyone says, "Oh my gosh, you're so woo-woo," right?
Yes.
Well, I don't mind that title, but we have to remember that everything is quantifiably energy. The way that
Mhm.
our brain works with our heart is electromagnetic.
Um,
Your body gives off a biofield. Your body can be measured in its electromagnetic frequency. These are things that we actually can quantify. We know that
right.
your EMF, your electromagnetic field, will change when you are depressed. We know that it will change when you're excited. We know that it will change when you step outside. These are things that we can quantifiably
Yeah,
resonate. Even though it is not seen for a normal individual, that doesn't mean that it's not perceived. So
right.
for me, the way that I work with scientists and doctors is it is visual for me. So
Yeah.
then when I was tested as a kid, meaning that like they would have me stand in front of a microwave, you brought that example up, and I would say, what I can
Really?
see is these waves move to this point, and they would say, show us by standing how far away. So I would
Yeah.
move my body to the length away, 18 feet, 25 feet away, and I would say it stops right here. Then they would get an EMF reader and they would measure it. the
Yeah.
waves from the microwave exactly to where I was standing and how
Wow.
small it was. But that's because it looks like that.
Yeah,
With
right.
the total sidebar, never stand in front of your microwave.
Oh,
Not even
okay, good. Because I always tell my kids to not do that, and I never really understood why, but my mom always said that.
your microwave, even when it's not on, gives off a level of electromagnetic energy that is considered unhealthy.
Oh my
Because you
god.
can measure on the readers, right? Anything that's
Yeah.
above 100 points is considered bad. And a microwave at rest is about 65. When
Wow.
you turn that microwave on, it goes way above 100. It'll go way above 100. And 100
Right.
is considered bad.
Yeah.
So, and you can
My
measure it
god.
by moving yourself
Yeah,
further and further away how far it is. So if you got
yeah.
that kid that puts his head inside of the microwave,
Oh my
move
gosh.
them away.
Yeah, get away.
You want to take just a moment for all your listeners who may not make it to the very end of this podcast because life.
Yes.
I do want to let them know that if they are becoming curious right now, you can find much more information on my website, which is thelightseer.com. And I want them to start to take a look because you can see lots of different resources that I analyze with when I am working with a doctor or if I'm working on TV, or I'm working one-on-one on a healing session. So please
Yeah.
go to that website and take a look if you are curious.
Stay tuned for Kimo Kepano's interview, part 2, coming August 15th, 2024. While you wait, here's how you can find Kimo now.
Thank you. And the very last thing that I would say is
Yeah.
that I hope that today can stimulate a thought if you are a person who's always shied away from intuition or from things that are woo-woo. If that has been something that has been a little terrifying for you, but you truly believe that you would like to be in a life experience that is more expansive than what you are experiencing now, then this is the time. You have so much information at your fingertips. Find a practitioner that you trust, that you have vetted ahead of time. I would love to work with you. I would love to work with you. And if it's not through me, then find someone else that you trust. Trust their word, trust their background, trust their level of experience, and trust their development. Trust how they speak and communicate. Otherwise, you could be persuaded to lean into things that may not feel comfortable for you.
Mm.
Can you find me? So besides utilizing my website of thelightseer.com, that information on lightseer.com will have all of my monthly seminars. I offer 2 seminars a month. I also have sessions that are open 5 days a week. I also have courses that you can follow. I also have some tour dates. You can follow all the different things that I speak on from there. You can also find me on TikTok on as the Lightseer, on Instagram as Aloha Lightseer. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. You could also find me on Pinterest. We're everywhere.
Love it. I gotta get following you on Pinterest. I love Pinterest.
Well, we just started this yesterday, so give it a beat.
I'll be one of your first followers.
I would love that. I would love that.
Okay,
Thank
well,
you.
thank you so much, Kimo. I appreciate you meeting with me and sharing your brilliance with my listeners. Make sure you really re-listen to it a couple of times because you're going to hear things you didn't hear the first time and the second time. So you're a different person every time you listen to it. So thank you so much, Kimo. And I will talk to everybody later.